Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying tuned with us. Joining us via the phone lines right now is Mrs. Susan Akpore. She's the immediate past president of NANTA. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Good to be with you this morning.
It's good to have you in the midst of us because it's a panel of gentlemen this morning. I'm happy to have a female on the panel, howbeit virtually. So let's head straight into it because time is our enemy on this show. Now, my question to you this morning, ma'am, is as an industry Amazon and, tested stakeholder, do you think that the minister, Hannatu Musa Musawa, is the Messiah to take us to the promised land?
Bumi, if this is a setup, I think you caught this. Absolutely, I do not think so. I mean, it's a woman, and you know me, Bumi, I'm always for women, supporting women. But that doesn't mean we should tell ourselves the truth. We shouldn't tell ourselves the truth when we have the opportunity. I think she's just doing the same mistake all of them keep doing. Tourism is a very unique sector, yeah? And the players need to be involved for any minister to make any difference. So it's just as business as usual. And I don't know when it will sink in the head of our government that tourism is not business as usual. It's very practical, and they keep handling this sector like any other sector that you just go and read, but without the sector involvement. Forgetting that we have been running this show, albeit little, with or without the government involvement. We've been running the Nigerian tourism show all these years, decades upon decades upon decades. I know people that have been doing it even before I was gone. People are still doing it. So she needs to do more of private sector engagement. I really don't know who they're listening to. I think it's always the problem of who they're listening to. They need to start listening to the right people that are selfless, people that is all about the industry and Nigeria.
Thank you so much. I think you hit the nail on the head. But, is there a way, to just get back from what is seemingly, lost opportunities? How do you feel?
Oh, yes. It's not a lost cause. It is not. I mean, no matter how far you have gone, you can retrace your steps back. If only you are humble and you can admit that, I've done this all along on my own and I'm going on the right direction. I mean, look at the story of the prodigal son. Yeah? I mean, humanly speaking, it was a lost cause, and even the boy didn't think the father would ever take him back. So there's never a lost cause situation as long as people are alive. Once there is life, there is hope. It's those that are dead that you can say, their situation is finished, nothing more. So there is room for us to restrain ourselves. Sometimes pride comes before a fall. I mean, if the minister can just admit, I've been pushing this in the wrong direction, now I want to come back. Hey guys, industry people, I know you have approached me. Now I'm willing to listen to you. We will embrace her with us. It doesn't have anything to do with her as a person. So I don't know her from anywhere until she became the minister from culture, now tourism. So people should go beyond seeing it as an individual, but the office is supposed to be all about the office, not whoever sits there. And it depends on who sits there. We should be able to, the person, there's a lot of humility that leadership should carry. Yeah, leadership should carry a lot of humility. When you know you have done wrong, you should be able to admit it. I've done wrong. I've consulted the wrong people. So it's not a lost cause. It is not a lost cause. It's still very virgin, and there is still great hope.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Now to just continue this conversation, and I had a volunteer to carry on from where you stopped, ma'am, and that is from Okorie Uguru. Now, does Nigeria have a sustainable tourism policy?
Sustainable tourism policy. When you talk about a sustainable tourism policy, by implication you mean a laid down policy that probably can move from one. It's a continuation. Now, the question is, where are we in terms of tourism in this country? I was thinking over it because I was supposed to be in this panel.
Yeah.
So I was thinking over it. Let's do it this way. The current administration came on board in 2023. Let's remove all the grammars. Let's remove all the promises and all the rest. 2023, Musawa has been on the saddle culture from August 2023 to now. She added the tourism portfolio in November. Roughly about 8 months. Okay, so the question is, where are we in 2023 and where are we now? What has changed? We have had a lot of destination 2030. We've had a lot of getting Afrasian Bank $200 million. Is it $billion? Frank, you should know better. And so on. But if we remove all these stories, if we remove all these promises, if we remove all this grammar, what have we added to tourism in the last 2 years? It's as simple as that. If we've added anything, that means there has been an achievement. If there is nothing, we can say this is what has been added to tourism outside the grammar, outside the promises. It's a practical thing. Like my Oga Otumba Rishawe says, it says practical tourism. Now it's practical. This is from May 2023 to now. What has been the addition to tourism? Then if you have any, we've achieved. If there's nothing, then all this grammar is nothing.
I'm just going to add something to that question for you, and that is, let's take a look at funding, industry funding. Okay, where is the private sector not getting support and encouragement from government?
Okay, it's a two-way thing. If you get to those in government, they'll tell you that the sector, especially the ministries, they've not had adequate funding. There might be some truth in that. Are you getting me? But it's when you engage, like Madam Suzanne, former president of NANTA, said, it's when you engage with the private sector, you know the problem of the industry, and then you can now channel and then chart a new course on how you can collaborate and see how to approach the government for funding. But when you're doing things in silo, you're doing things on your own, the private sector doesn't know where you're heading to. So how does that work? That's the issue.
I think Frank wants to come in here. Okay, we carry on. Okay, so because we have a whole jury today, I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on to the next member of our beautiful jury this morning, and I'm coming to you, Prince. And my question this morning is straight to the point. Has this administration delivered yet on culture and tourism, and what is the way forward?
You want the truth?
Truth, sir.
The whole truth. Nothing but the truth, so help me God. As long as, the Bible says that, as long as the servant is riding a horse and the prince is walking, a lot of things are not going to go the way it should. Sincerely, it's a bit disheartening. If the governments from 2023, they could beam a searchlight on oil sector, they could build a searchlight on the economic sector. Why can't they beam the same light into tourism? Because the truth is, tourism is bottom up. And until the local government, because you can be shouting from the head, you need to look from the local. And you're saying about funding. The funding aspect of it is not that. When you look at the content itself on the local level, the players, is traditional sector, the local government, and the private sector. Now, if you beam it more into it and create a structure, then there will be a local government development. But from the traditional aspect of it, they've already created what I call a mafia clique. Now, going back to the ministerial sector, it's sad and painful that we have people who could run the sector effectively, but we keep on picking the wrong people to man the sector. And as long as they keep on doing that, for me, I just feel that it's painful.
So this administration hasn't delivered yet?
Not at all. Or not on tourism.
Okay.
Maybe on subsidy, but not on tourism.
Meanwhile, we're here to discuss tourism, the culture and tourism sector. Okay, well, let's take a break. But I'm going to lead out this conversation again with Otumba Michael Balogun. Now, our demographic, power base is being effectively utilized to drive domestic tourism and process employment and revenue gains. But what do you think that this administration should do to support a Travel Nigeria agenda? I see this is your, the core area, where you are concerned. So that's the question this morning.
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen in the studio. First, I would like to say tourism is a low-hanging fruit, and it has a lot of moving parts. And to say from all what the gentlemen have said this morning, I'm just going to say this. I don't think we've done enough to engage, we in the private sector, in the tourism industry. To start with, tourism doesn't even exist in isolation.
True.
It doesn't. And this is the part this administration have gotten totally wrong from the get-go. I sit here as the secretary to the Nigerian Association of Tour Operators. I represent a full body of domestic tour operators, inbound and outbound. And for a whole 2 years, we've not had a sit down with the minister. The last minister, Madam Lola Dejon, at least she showed a little, interaction with the private sector through some of the engagements we had. We had our AGM in Kwara State. She was there. She's been around some of these destinations with some of our members and other stakeholders. But on the federal level, I don't think we are even seen. And when you hear the minister and people in the government industries talking about Destination Nigeria 2030, this one, having events that we are not even invited for, then you begin to wonder when people are talking about Destination this, Desi December that, who are the real people pushing this narrative? It's the tour operators. Nobody. The Nigerian government don't even have a DMC to sell all these narratives they've been pushing. So who sells it? So it makes some of us, unpatriotic to say you've been pushing and promoting Nigeria for the last, I've been doing this business for the last 15 years. I have multiple awards to show for it, both locally and internationally. And to say I've never met my minister for one day, to have a sit down. And just recently, they had this national tourism summit at Cocoa Beach. And it was like a joke. Because I have a huge followership on my LinkedIn, and people were saying, we were expecting to see people like you at that event. We didn't even get an invite. We've never had an invite to sit on the table with the minister. So how do we channel all our grievances to this sector if we can't even have
the ears of the minister?
Yes. We've had events. We've been invited to Uganda, for their tourism expo. It shows the value what we do. But back home, we're always at the back burner. It's always like we are being bullied and begged for presents. Who does that? If I've been selling Nigeria as my tourism company name sounds, to Nigeria, and I've never even met the minister for one day. I've worked in partnership with the Nigerian Economic Summit group. We were part of the people that did the National Tourism Review, just to put so much passion in what we're doing as patriots. And then the following 2 weeks, the ministry was dissolved. So when people talk about this word sustainability, I think it has been overflowed. There's nothing sustainable in any of these things anymore. So if you create a policy today, and the minister that is in charge of this is taken away, that means you're going to go exactly. And then the new minister, it shows she's more passionate about the creative industry, while the tourism is on the back burner. And until we can let them get this holistic picture, that we have to sit down. There's this thing called the Dutch Diamond approach, where everybody in the sector, in the ecosystem, needs to sit down. From the data analysts, the statistics, the knowledge-based people, the tourism, the NGOs. That is when you can form a real ecosystem. Right now, it is not healthy. It is almost like we're just fighting. In the next 2-4 years, she goes away, somebody else comes in, and then they start all over again. That is why there's never a continuity in this sector.
I think continuity is actually key. It's one of the most important things. You can't start, stop, and expect that industry to thrive. It's wrong. So I'm going to come to you, sir, Andrew. You are a frontline journalist with years of experience on this beat. Can you tell us critical areas of failings and that you found, that you've been able to identify and put your finger on, and how we can correct those areas of failings?
Thank you so much for that question. It's a quite a compulsive one, maybe where I should like to start from to really say areas of failing, which is the number one critical aspect. Now I'm going to tie that down to us as a nation, the way we'll be developing, because we are treating tourism in isolation. And that has been one critical area where our tourism has moved. In the global world, or in countries that are tourism serious, tourism is not treated in isolation. It's an encompassing. I use the word there, it's an omnibus. And the way this present ministry is done, Hannatu is supposed to be a super minister. She understood properly what she's doing. Not the finance minister, not the CBN. Hannatu is supposed to be the super minister of this country. But she doesn't understand the soft power of what she has. And we as a nation do not, neither does the president. What do I mean by that? We have to put tourism at the top in terms of our philosophy. What drives our economy all year? But beneath that all year, first is tourism. So until we understand the metrics and the dynamics and interplay of creating a national ecosystem, we just still going to be beating
around
at
the bush.
the wall. And that is why no minister has ever succeeded, because the minister is playing alone. And you don't have the resources that you need to build tourism. The resources that we need in NST to build tourism is all over. And you are not be able to enhance that resources or the personnel, because you see yourself as a tiny cockroach. We rise, you are the bigger elephant in the room that people should be clogging around. So if the government does not understand that, we expect that whoever is the minister to understand that and say, hey, Mr. President, this is happening there, it's wrong. I can't say tourism. They are fighting in Borno consistently. They are killing in Plateau. They are killing in Benue. As our Minister of Tourism one day visited, as she one day made a statement, as she one day gone to the Chief of Staff, to the Chief of Defense and say, Oga, this can't continue. Whatever politics you are doing, put it behind you. I want to sell my tourism. Benue State is the full basket of this country. And they have one of the most recognized dramatic elements, puppetry. People go around the world for that. It's a circuit. We don't do that. We don't celebrate it. Dancing, music is in Benue. Plateau, their cultural elements are so unique. I'm just looking at that.
Yeah.
Just to tell you why we are where we are. So government still say tourism as dance, music. No, it's beyond that. That would have stopped our war. Right from Obasanjo, no, not even Obasanjo. Obasanjo was just exited when this Boko Haram started.
Yeah.
Right from Yar'Adua and Jonathan, they have understood the soft power of tourism. This war would have ended a long time ago.
Yeah.
Because Benue State that it started, they have some of the richest tourism assets in this country. But nobody is looking at that. Everybody just concentrating on the small micro tourism, ministry. So Hannatu should sit back and ask herself, 2 years down here, what have I really achieved? The ministerial briefing she gave last month, if you look at it, it's all shambles. She's talking about programs. There's no one single reference point to say we have done this, but rather we. You are talking about long term. And just like we said on this panel, one of the problems is sustainability. We don't sustain, we use and dump. So when Hannatu leaves today, tomorrow, all those things she has outlined,
Out
they
the
are
window.
all gone. They are all gone. We are creating infrastructure company for who? Where is the money coming from? ADB, the African Development Bank is not just going to give you money. They have told you they will give, but you need to show your workings.
Sure.
Where is the documentation? They are not Father Christmas like our presidency.
Where is the ROI?
Yes, so they need to see, no, this doesn't work with us. And of course, they are going to supervise the fund. So those things are in the book. We are talking about long term that you will not be able to achieve. In the short term, what has she achieved? Zero. In the middle term, nothing. So the long term is a mirage.
Okay. We have so much to talk about. If I give everybody in this studio the opportunity, to vent their minds, and at this point, I want Frank to actually say something, but I appreciate the fact that we are just not satisfied. And I think as the moderator of this panel this morning, I'd like to just say that as a conclusion, one of the conclusive statements from the things that we have said. This is an ongoing thing. It's going to be an ongoing thing. Getting the half-term report of, the ministry so far, we need to say the truth. And one of those truths is that we have failed.
Yeah, but I want me to say something, but everybody knows that I hold some critical views because this is our country and we need to continue to be on the pedestal of truth. We need to tell the truth. We're talking about sustainability of the industry. You can't have sustainability when you don't have a policy. And when you have sustainability, you must have responsibility.
Yeah.
So when those things are missing, so we're just kind of playing games, it's just a minister for fun, okay, for 2 years. Look at the president's speech. Go back to it. Just want to do. Soon, we just want to invite people to come and do festival. That's the only achievement. That's terrible. And for all they have said on this beat, just simply say they are wrong persons in the wrong place. So the president needs to be courageous. I listened to Senator Ojikalu, and he said, look, the president needs to be courageous to change the ministers. Need to be courageous. I don't know why they're holding it down. I don't understand. This lady is just not it. That's the truth of the matter. So no matter what you prefer here today, Hannatu is not willing to listen. She takes pleasure, okay, in walking on the aisle, okay. Of course, she's a pretty lady. Unfortunately, she's not even selling her beauty anyway, which is of course has to do with her country. So the truth of the matter is that this country is just wasting its time and resources, and all that we have, and it's painful because our children are looking for jobs that we should have provided. We're talking about look at what Andrew said, okay, the security content of tourism. You're not even taking it as a minister. Look, I've been asked up to this one in the past 3 weeks. But you need to look, people just say, look, Nigeria is just the place because of our diversity. They tell you, your music, your sports. I wasn't talking. Everybody just simply because everybody just want to come to Nigeria. But where do you get the visa? You can't get into this country, okay? And you want to do Nigeria 2030, okay? We went there and we said, look, this is our problem. We can't enter Turkey too. They said, okay, in 2 weeks, last 2 weeks, the ambassador here said, okay, we're going to release the visa regulation. What have we responded? No, because we don't have a minister that can key into what is going on. So for me, it's just so sad. So let's just take it.
We need to talk to Mr. George now. Because this, like I said, they're ongoing conversations. We keep it going. Yes. And if we don't stay on it, some people get away with the wrong things, So Mr. George Lucky is joining us via the phone lines right now. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. Just to warn you, I have barely 2 minutes with you. Good morning, madam.
We sincerely apologize. But yes.
No, that's fine.
Quick one. Now, you have followed the United Nations tourism politics for a long time. Now, what has Nigeria as a country benefited from hosting the UN tourism for a record 5th time. And please help us to describe the leadership of Hannatu Musa Musawa on the industry.
Okay, just a quick one. The tourism politics of the UN and, of course, the Nigerian hosting several UN WTO programs has not yielded any results. I think the previous ministers and the previous directors in the ministry, they have a panache for hosting events. And every time they go out, they want to prove to the rest of Africa that Nigeria is a giant of Africa. We have free money to throw around. And therefore, they bid for every event, even when it is not profiting and benefiting to our tourism industry. So that has been the style over the years.
Thank you so much for that contribution. But a final question to you. In the industry, is our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu the problem?
No, it's not the president. The problem is the ministry. The ministry and the agency, those are the people, because the president cannot be everywhere all the time. So he has delegated his power to the Minister of Tourism. So therefore, the responsibility, the failure, and the success lies straight with the minister. So the president, yes, he has done the right thing by giving us a minister. Unfortunately, we lost the ministry due to the politics of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group that brought us a minister whom they christened as the savior of tourism industry. Unfortunately, she came, she had issues, and of course, the tourism industry ministry was eventually scrapped. So it's a terrible thing that has befallen tourism over the years. And again, I want to say most sincerely that we will continue to ask for a separate ministry, because this minister as it is now is overwhelmed with almost 15 parastatals. So there is no way any of the parastatals under her can get the best out of her, and that is exactly what we're witnessing. She always showed up to major events. She is not involved in the nitty-gritty, in the planning, in the evaluation of issues. She was only given a file, madam, we have bidded for this, and this is good for us by the directors, and she signed up to it, and she runs with it. We cannot continue to do that. You know, I'm one of the few people who believe that there are certain ministries that are relevant. I travel by road across Nigeria all the time. Why cannot Nigeria, a country of 200 million people, do not have a minister of federal highways? We should have. And that brings attention to that specific aspect of our tourism industry, so that federal highways are maintained. If you repair all the federal highways, if you patch them up, I can tell you movement within and intrastate across the country will be better. So these are some of the things we need to think about. But unfortunately, the economists are always saying, oh, Nigeria has no business having too many ministers. What we are losing for not having certain ministers are far much more than what we gain for having limited ministers. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. George Lucky. He is the Executive Secretary of Africa Travel Commission, and we want to say a very big thank you. We know that your time was short, but we thank you for joining us, howbeit it was a short one. But thank you so much for your contributions. He opened up some other cans of worms that we would not have enough time to delve into in this show today. We'll have another show to be able to deal with all of that. But I mean, great conversation we've had so far. Welcome back. I want to thank everyone for staying tuned. We intended to open our phone lines for phone calls. However, because our time is fast spent, we'll open the phone lines for WhatsApp messages. Please engage with us on our social media handles. You can engage with us at Mainland 98.3 Facebook. Even on YouTube, you can drop a message there. If you watch us live, you can also drop us a message on WhatsApp right now on 091 36000 430. That's 091 36000 430, and we will read your messages loud and here on air. And here is our culture, technology, festivals, travels, hospitality, music, movies, brown water economy, insurance news, and sports tourism with Sehem's Travels, edited by Frank Meke. President Ahmed Bola Tinubu on the 29th of May revealed that Nigeria may hold a motherland festival soon, but didn't elaborate on it. Tongues are wagging over the fact that that festival shares the same operational expectations, and that is worrisome. Motherland beckons with variants Ikmada Festival, and to which the president is an ambassador. It was unveiled at the presidential villa by former Minister of Tourism Lola Adejon and later introduced to Hannatu Musa Musawa by the founder Otumba Wanle Akimboboye, who registered the Motherland Beacons on the 23rd of July 2008. However, the Ministry of Culture and Tourism recently claimed that it's partnering with a certain Discover Motherland and Africa Limited to drive the Motherland Festival, fueling uncertainties over which two firms came to the table with a Motherland initiative. Discover Motherland and Africa Limited was registered on the 11th of February 2025 after Akimboboye visited the minister to seek collaboration. Meanwhile, Nigeria's emergency response capacity was tested during a Mokwa, Niger State flooding, which claimed several lives and left the environment in a terrible state. Also, our investment profile on sports business got shattered by an accident involving the Kano team returning from national sports games in Abeokuta, Ogun State, when their rickety bus plunged into a nearby bush, with most of the athletes dead on the spot. A lone survivor alleged that the bus broke down severally on the highway before the eventual crash. While the governors and eminent Nigerians are falling over themselves with messages of commiseration to the families of the dead athletes, none so far has promised to invest in proper logistics for the movement and transportation of Nigerian sportsmen and women. What a tragedy. And still on the crash, the Federal Road Safety Commission has blamed overspeeding and fatigue for the bus crash, which took the lives of Kano athletes during the weekend. In other news, 38-year-old Sheikha Nasir Al Nawais from United Arab Emirates, UAE, has been elected the new Secretary General of United Nations Tourism. She eclipsed other contestants to the prestigious position, largely fueled by the financial and diplomatic muscles of the Arab nation. Sheikha is the first female occupier of a UN tourism seat in its history. Back home in Nigeria, Nigerian small and medium-scale enterprises will be availed opportunities to learn new trade skills in packaging and branding to enable them to compete effectively in the emerging Africa Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA. Nigeria Focal Agency in charge of the growth and monitoring of these strategic business opportunities, the Small and Medium-Scale Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDAN, says the training of the Nigerian business owners and founders is geared towards unlocking hidden opportunities found in the $3 trillion and $1.3 billion consumers linked with the single continental trade market. And finally, in our news this morning, Saudi Arabia has joined other countries with powerful trade and employment markets, slamming a total freeze to halt inbound labor and job opportunities during the Hajj pilgrimage circles. Nigeria and 6 other African countries were targeted by the suspension of block work visas permits, which allows Saudi Arabia employers to hire a predetermined number of foreign workers. Wow, so much to talk about on our news this morning. Do we have enough time to do that this morning, Frank? Is there any particular one that we can pick up?
Let me just talk about the after thing and job, opportunities in Nigeria or in Africa. Looking at a country, on my way back at the airport, I see people, both employers and immigration. I'm not saying, I will use the word smuggling. They move the Chinese. They're moving them into the country in numbers. Jobs that Nigeria should have been able to do, they bring them here, okay? And because they believe they have their, and these are just, in fact, Nigerians are more better. So other countries all over the world are protecting their economy. Look at what Trump is doing. But we're not doing the same. The president said, let's go consume Nigeria. But how many are we actually doing that? Okay, sports tourism, for instance. That's why Nigeria is so diverse. In Gambia, they say, look, if Nigeria don't wake up, Africa will never wake up. And that's the issue, because our diversity is so much. Our culture is, so virgin, understand it. We don't even touch anything. We don't talk about sports tourism, talk about every other areas that we have. Our beachfront, for instance. Oh God. Bumi, somebody needs to just help wake this country up. It's so painful, and our young persons are running away from this country when they should be here developing this country, and now they are shutting the doors against them. In fact, some of them are regretting living here now. Okay, because they are now realize that their own people need to get the job. So we need to go back to it, Bumi. So that's how to say so that I can have it.
Okay, so today we'll be concluding our show on a nice, light-hearted note. It's been a bit gloomy, but it's not all gloom and doom, I tell you. Young ones are taking over in this country, and we have a young one in the house who is going to take us our music segment. We're replacing that with Adeshola Akewi. Take us out, and as she takes us out, we'll see you same time next week. That's Thursday, 10 a.m. same station, mainland 98.3 FM. Adeshola
Akewi moriba folodumare oba eri nani ohun anila anani ọmọ aláyàn ní nani ìlú bàbá tó gbé bí wọn lọ́mọ mo pé ẹjẹ́ anani orílẹ̀-èdè yóò jàre ẹ̀yin aṣáájú mo pé ẹjẹ́ parapọ̀ kájọ ṣe o ẹ̀rí igi kan tẹ́ẹ̀rí yẹn dàgbò ṣe àfi ká parapọ̀ kájíjọ gbé lárugẹ mo pé ẹ bá ràn gbogbo wọn lọ́wọ́ pátápátá ẹ̀rí gbogbo àwọn ẹ̀ka ìrìn àjò afẹ́ mo pé wọ́n kúkú ń ṣiṣẹ́ takuntakun ẹjẹ́ àgbé wọn lárugẹ ká ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ ká gbárùkù tí wọ́n ò jàre ẹ̀rí àwọn ohun àlùmọ́ọ́nì tá a ní tí mo wọ́ wọlé ẹ̀rí gbogbo rẹ̀ ò má gbọ́dọ̀ lọ sókun ìgbàgbé ò jàre mo pé ẹjẹ́ ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ o kó lè bá dáa ẹ̀rí mo ṣetán tí wọ́n fètò rọ̀ ayò gbà mí ń bá ní kí n máa sọ̀rọ̀ yìí dọ̀ọ̀la ò jàre ẹ̀rí ẹ̀yin là máa bá àwa là máa wá ẹ̀rí kó wá nípa kankan nínú wa ò jàre mo pọ́ di ìgbà o.